Okay. I'd like to call the regular board meeting for the Village of Hainesville to order at 6:30 p.m. on October 22nd, 2024. Please stand and join me in the pledge. I want to mention before you sat down, George. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Jerry Daly.
Here.
Trustees Richmond. Present. George Silverstein.
Here.
Priest.
Here.
Georgianne Dickerstein. Here. Koval. Here. And Williams.
Here. We have a quorum. Need a motion to approve the agenda. So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustees Richmond. Aye. George Silverstein.
Aye.
Priest.
Aye.
Georgianne Dickerstein. Aye. Koval. Aye. And Williams.
Aye.
Carried.
Okay. Let's see if we can get Scott up and get our presentation going. Hello, Scott.
Hello there. Thank you.
You're on.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for giving me a few minutes to review the audit here tonight. And always, I'd like to thank Kelly for all of her hard work in preparing for the audit. In case everyone may not be aware or doesn't recall from past meetings, the village is required to undergo an audit annually under state statutes, and they have us present the results to you here tonight. So I will start off with a quick overview on the financial statements first. And in that first report, the first item that you'll find after the table of contents is our auditor's report. And for fiscal year 2024, that is again what we refer to as an unmodified or clean opinion on the financial statements. So that is the best form of opinion that you can receive. And it means that we found the financial statement amounts and disclosures to be fairly stated in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. So you may recall from prior years that I always encourage you to read the management's discussion and analysis at the beginning of the document. This section that follows the auditor's report provides a nice, easy-to-read overview of the financial statements and explains the report format. And it does have some summarized comparative information for you, along with narratives that explain some key items in the financial statements. So as we move into the financial statements themselves, the statement of net position is on page 14. And this takes all of the village's assets, including your infrastructure, so roads and sewers, etc., plus other deferred outflows, totaling about $18.8 million combined. And then we reduce that amount by your outstanding liabilities and other deferred inflows, which are about $1.1 million combined. And that brings us to your ending net position or equity at the end of the fiscal year at the very bottom to the right side of about $17.7 million. And most of that, about $13.4 million of it, is invested in capital assets and infrastructure or held for other restricted uses, so that the remaining unrestricted portion, which can actually be spent at the village's discretion, is about $3.9 million. And I think it's worth noting here that many municipalities have seen that unrestricted amount move to a negative balance because of outstanding bonds and large public safety pension liabilities. So fortunately, the village is not in that position. The village's only note payable from the prior year of $50,000 was paid off in fiscal year 24. And otherwise, the only other long-term liability to note relates to the village's IMRF plan, where the net pension liability of about $134,000 in the prior year was reduced to roughly $122,000 at 4/30/23. So while pension funding will continue to be a significant consideration for most municipalities because of the public safety plans, the village's IMRF plan is relatively small due to size, and the roughly $122,000 liability is relatively minor. So if you're interested in any more information or details on that plan, note 10 in the footnotes has more information for you. And from there, I'll call to your attention page 16 in the report where we have the fund financial statements. And here in the first column to the left, you'll see that the village's general fund is maintaining a healthy fund balance of approximately $1.8 million, which is about 79% of annual expenditures for the fund, which is almost 10 months' worth. So I do always like to give you a point of reference on that and note that as a best practice, the Government Finance Officers Association suggests that you maintain no less than 2 months worth of expenditures for the general fund within your fund balance, so the village is definitely staying well above that level. And in the interest of time, I'll leave it at that for the financial statements, but I will pause here for a moment just to see if there's any questions or anything else that I can clarify in regards to the financial statements before I move to the next document.
Question for you.
Sure.
I work for the University of Illinois, and I know we were talking about our pensions, and my IMRF came up. Was that really cut from, it was like 100% funded, now it's like 80%? Was there a change in that?
Yeah, so over time, and I think it was not last year, but the year before, depending on investment performance, there can be cases where it swings into what we would consider to be a net pension asset position. That was, as I think back now, was not the prior year, but the year before that. Investment results did swing this year. And if you look in the audit report, it would be page, let me find it for you, page 43 in the report has a schedule there that shows sort of the reconciliation of the beginning of year to end of year balance. And if you look there about 3/4 of the way down in that table, there was actually net investment income roughly $77,000 there that did help to reduce that sum. But the investment income very much does impact the results from year to year. So you did have a little bit of a reduction in that liability with the investment returns. The size of the plan and the nature of the participants doesn't create very dramatic swings in the actuarial amounts just because of the nature of your plan, whereas when you contrast that to the university, you certainly see a lot more fluctuations and certainly larger numbers there. Does that help?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? Okay, Scott.
Okay, so the second deliverable that you receive as part of our audit is a required communication under auditing standards to you as the board, since you are the group charged with governance of the village. This document provides you with various details on the audit and our scope. It includes summarizing our responsibility when conducting the audit on the first page, and it also clarifies inherent limitations of an audit, whereby we can only provide reasonable and not absolute assurance about the financial statements because we don't test every transaction. And then at the bottom of the first page, it clarifies your responsibilities in regards to the audit, which is essentially saying that our audit does not relieve you of your duties as a board, and each of your responsibilities, as well as ours, are detailed further in our engagement letter that we issue at the start of each audit. As we go to page 2, we get into various matters such as significant accounting policies, where we note there were no significant impacts or changes in accounting principles for FY24 that impacted the financial statements. We also highlight some significant accounting estimates move into pages 3 and 4, we note that we did not have any significant audit adjustments that we need to disclose for you. But we did have some immaterial items that we agreed with management not to post because they're just exhibits. So those will be attached to the final copy of the letter when we issue that. Beginning at page 4, we get into a discussion on the consideration of internal controls. So here we did have 2 repeat comments from prior year reports that relate to internal controls. Since these are not new, and I know you did all receive the draft reports before the meeting, I won't get into the specifics of those much further here. But lastly, I will note for you that on page 6, we highlight that there are yet more new accounting pronouncements that will impact the village in coming years. The next one that may have some impact to the village will be for the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2025. And this one relates to compensated absences. So for some entities, this is having impacts on the way sick time in particular has been recognized. And the village will need some more time to consider the impacts of these new standards. And I know Kelly and Mayor Daley always love to discuss these new standards that just keep pouring down from year to year. So more to come on those in the future. So if anyone has any questions, I'll again pause here and be glad to take those for you.
I will ask the same question I ask every year. Your audit has found that the village is in a very stable financial condition and that there was nothing that was found that was substantially inappropriate or unacceptable.
That's right, Mayor. Any of those types of matters would be addressed in that letter that I just covered for sure for the board, yes.
Any questions from the board? Ann?
Do you have any recommendations based on what you see at other municipalities for practices we should update or adopt to make our position even better?
Yeah, the couple matters that I referred to that are repeat carry forward items from prior years pertain first to what we refer to as a formal fraud risk assessment process. And as part of any internal control structure, there's always the potential for management override of controls. So generally what's recommended there as a best practice is that you go through sort of a brainstorming process annually to think about your existing controls and the risks for financial statement misstatements to occur. And it's important to have some board representation in that process just to kind of serve as the sort of a challenging voice as you think about the things that have been put in place and ways that those things might be circumvented. So that's the first item. The other comment related to just having formally written documented policies regarding information technology, policies and security, including disaster recovery. We certainly see more and more issues of cybersecurity instances popping up. So it's important to have some of those policies and procedures in place and documented.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
We have some things in place already.
I'll have Kelly address that to you.
We have some things in place already.
To address those 2 issues.
Yeah, we have internal stuff going, and then like Trustee Colville reported to you that I've been working on this overall big financial policy that would have the fraud prevention within this. We have a few ordinances passed here and there that cover some different things, but I'm trying to get it all in one document, so there'll be our fiscal policies, fiscal financial policies of the village. So that has been working on. And our as far as the IT, Mayor Daley and I worked with CSI, our IT company that we work with. They supply us quite a bit of time throughout the year. Here's where you're at with the server. They do the recommendations. We have backup and stuff. But what they're looking for is more documented. So I'll get stuff
the only other thing I would add there is just, this is certainly not uncommon given the village's size that some of those things are done perhaps informally, and these are more just documentation type matters.
All right. Any last questions or comments from the board? Kelly? Any?
No, that's it.
All right. Thanks, Scott. It's been another year.
Okay, well, thank you again for your time tonight. I hope you all have a good evening.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll give Christina a minute to shut it down. All right, next up we have a guest. Katie Gamma is the new executive director of the Round Lake Area Park District. I want to apologize to her right up front because she was supposed to come and did come to our canceled meeting. Then I forgot to call her and say, oh, we're not meeting because the building is not in good shape. So my apologies for that, and I'm glad you could come back and join us. The floor is yours.
Sorry, everybody's way here. I just wanted to come and introduce myself as new executive director.
Get to the mic.
Oh,
Here.
Here's the mic.
It's up here.
can I use my camp voice and just talk louder?
No,
Okay.
Kid's voice.
Yeah. I've been with the Park District for 7 years now in a variety of different roles, from superintendent of recreation to director of operations and recreation, and now just in July started as the new executive director when Newport retired. So I have a little bit of background with the district in itself and our relationships here with the 5 different villages that we serve. And my goal over the next however many years, of course, hopefully it will be many years with the Park District in this role, is to only strengthen those relationships that we have with our villages, that we have with our other local entities that we do business with, whether it comes in from sponsorship, as well as just make more connections with our school district. The goal that we all share, that's the same, is that we're all here to help our community, and we just happen to serve 5 different ones. So we get to take all of that into consideration as we move forward and we do our programming. We are currently working on our master plan, so I will be reaching out there as well to some of you as well for input, in direction and vision as stakeholders in our community, what you would like to see over the next 10 years for the Park District and direction that we would like to go. We're also currently working on our inclusive playground project. It's over in Round Lake Beach, right across from our special recreation building. Right now, it's slated to be the largest in Lake County with the tallest fully accessible slide. Construction, as it does, has thrown us a few curveballs. So we hope to now have that completed here in early spring once we get the weather and opportunity to do the flooring out there. But those are some of the things that we're currently working on. And again, I just wanted to come and introduce myself, put a name to the face. Please reach out with anything that you have moving forward.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time tonight.
Any questions for Katie?
Yes, but probably when you get settled in and maybe you'll come back and we can ask you those questions.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. I think she's going to join us on our next
Yes.
field trip.
Oh.
All right.
I figured I might as well.
Okay.
All right. We're headed out that door, and we'll go to the beginning of the path right now.
Bring us that lunch.